Welcome back. In this session, we are going to learn about some agro-based industries and mineral-based industries. We will also learn how these industries help for the economic development of our country. First, we go with the jute industry. Jute is known as golden fiber. A great advantage of jute fiber is that it is environment-friendly natural fiber. Jute is the most important fiber crop. It has been grown in the Bengal area of India. It is the cheapest and one of the most important textile fibers and has been widely used in various ways. It is used to make sacks and cloth for wrapping, geotextiles, pulp and paper, household products, non-woven textiles, etc. India is the largest producer of raw jute and jute goods. The first jute mill was set up near Kolkata in 1859 at Risra. Most of the jute mills in India are located in West Bengal, mainly along the banks of the Hooghly River. Why the jute industry concentrated on the banks of Hooghly? It is because of the proximity or the presence of the jute producing areas to the Hooghly basin. Inexpensive water transport is provided by the Hooghly River. This area is well connected by a good network of railways, waterways and roadways. There is abundant water for processing raw jute. Also, there is availability of cheap labor from West Bengal and adjacent states like Bihar, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. Kolkata is a port and a large urban center. It provides banking, insurance and port facilities. As in the case of cotton industry, jute industry also faces some challenges. Like the stiff competition from the international market and from synthetic substitutes. Another challenge is the competition from the other jute producers like Bangladesh, Brazil, Philippines, Egypt and Thailand. National jute policy was formulated in 2005 with the objective of increasing productivity, improving quality and ensuring good prices for the jute farmers. There is a growing global concern for environment-friendly biodegradable materials. This has opened the opportunity for jute products. Next, we learn about sugar industry. India is the second largest producer of sugar in the world and largest producer of gur and khansari. 60% of the sugar mills are in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. In recent years, there is a tendency to shift the sugar mills to the southern and western states, especially to Maharashtra, because the sugarcane produced here has a higher sucrose content. Sucrose is a naturally occurring sugar found in plants. It is also known as cane sugar and table sugar. The cooler climate in these states also ensures a longer crushing season. This industry is seasonal in nature and ideally suited to the cooperative sector. What is a cooperative? Cooperatives are people-centered enterprises owned, controlled and run by their members to realize their common economic, social and cultural needs. Cooperatives bring people together in a democratic and equal way. Sugar industry is ideally suited to the cooperative sector. Do you know why? It is because for entire year the farmers are engaged in producing sugar cane as it is an annual crop. Sugarcane is bulky and perishable. It cannot be transported to long distances because its sucrose content dries up fast. So it should be processed within 24 hours of its harvest. When the crop is reaped, the farmers pool together their resources to their cooperative mills. The seasonal nature of the sugar industry makes the farmers to set up cooperative mills close to the fields where farmers share the profits and losses. And the cooperatives are more successful in the states of Maharashtra and Kerala. Next comes mineral-based industries. Industries that use minerals and metals as raw materials are called mineral-based industries. First we look at the iron and steel industry. The iron and steel industry is the basic industry as it provides all types of machinery to run all the other industries. Steel is needed to manufacture a variety of engineering goods, construction materials, scientific equipments, and a variety of consumer goods. Iron and steel is a heavy industry because all the raw materials as well as finished goods are heavy and bulky. Production and consumption of steel is often regarded as the index of a country's development. India is ranked 4th among the world's unrefined steel producers, and it is the largest producer of sponge iron. Today, China is the world's largest producer and consumer of steel. India is an important iron and steel producing country in the world, yet we are not able to perform to our full potential. Why? It is due to the lower productivity of labor, irregular supply of energy, poor infrastructure, and due to high cost and limited availability of coking coal, that is an important raw material used in the iron and steel industry. Liberalization and foreign direct investment has attracted private entrepreneurs to this industry. It has given a boost to the iron and steel industry these years. In India, iron and steel industries are mainly concentrated in and around Chota Nagpur Plateau region. The reasons are the low cost of iron ore which is mined from this region, then high grade raw materials is in close proximity, availability of cheap labor, vast growth potential in the home market, efficient transport network for their distribution, and availability of power because this region has many thermal and hydel power plants. Next we move on to aluminium smelting. This is the second most important metallurgic industry in India. Bauxite, the raw material used in the aluminium smelting, is a very bulky, dark reddish colored rock. Aluminium is a light metal resistant to corrosion or damages. It is a good conductor of heat. It is malleable and becomes strong when mixed with other metals. Malleable means easy to be hammered or pressed into shape without breaking or cracking. Let us see the uses of aluminium. As it is a light metal, aluminium is used to manufacture aircrafts. It is also used to make utensils, wires, and packing materials. It has gained popularity as a substitute of steel, copper, zinc, and lead in a number of industries. Aluminium industries are located in Odisha, West Bengal, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu. Chemical industries. Chemical industry in India is fast growing and diversifying. It contributes approximately 3% to the GDP. It is the third largest industry in Asia and 12th largest in the world in terms of its size. It comprises both large and small scale manufacturing units. Rapid growth has been recorded in both inorganic and organic chemical sectors. Organic chemicals include petrochemicals, which are used for manufacturing of synthetic fibers, synthetic rubber, plastics, color stuffs, drugs, and pharmaceuticals. Organic chemical plants are located near oil refineries or petrochemical plants. Inorganic chemicals include sulfuric acid, nitric acid, alkalis, soda ash, and caustic soda. Sulfuric acid is used to manufacture fertilizers, synthetic fibers, plastics, paints, dyestuffs, and sticking objects or glues. Nitric acid, alkalis and soda ash are used to make glass, soaps, detergents and paper. Next we go with fertilizer industry. Fertilizers are chemicals or natural substances added to soil or land to increase its fertility. Fertilizers are used to provide additional nutrients to the plants. They are added to improve the yield of the crops. Nitrogen-rich fertilizers are used for the greening of lawns. Fertilizers improve the texture and fertility of the soil. The fertilizer industry is mainly centered around the production of nitrogenous fertilizers, phosphatic fertilizers and complex fertilizers. Nitrogenous means containing nitrogen, mainly urea. Complex fertilizers have a combination of nitrogen, phosphate and potash. India is the third largest producer of nitrogenous fertilizers. There are 57 units for producing nitrogenous and complex nitrogenous fertilizers. At present, there are 10 public sector undertakings and 1 in cooperative sector at Hazira in Gujarat under the Fertilizer Corporation of India. Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab and Kerala are the main producers of fertilizers. They contribute towards half the fertilizer production of our country. Next comes cement industry. Cement is essential for construction activity such as building houses, factories, bridges, roads, airports, dams and for other commercial establishments. This industry requires bulky and heavy raw materials like limestone, silica and gypsum. The first cement plant was set up in Chennai in 1904. Cement industry has strategically located its factories in Gujarat. India produces a variety of cement and this industry is doing well in terms of production as well as export. Decontrol of price and distribution and other policy reforms led the cement industry to make rapid strides in capacity, process, technology and production. Automobile industry. Automobile industry deals with the manufacturing of trucks, buses, cars, motorcycles, scooters, three-wheelers and multi-utility vehicles. Automobile industry provides vehicles for quick transport of goods, services and passengers. Foreign direct investment or FDI brought in new technology and aligned the industry with global developments. Now we move on to the electronic industry. The electronic industry produces a wide range of products from transistor sets to televisions and computers for us. This industry has helped us to set up telephone exchanges, telephones, cellular telecom, radios and many other equipments which have application in space technology, aviation, defense, meteorological departments, etc. It has generated employment for a large number of people. This industry has been a major foreign exchange earner because of its fast growing business process outsourcing or BPO sector. BPO refers to the process of contracting standard business functions to be handled by a party outside the company. In recent years, India is earning large foreign exchange through the export of information technology. BPO and IT services are the two components of Indian information technology. India is one of the leading countries in software development. We have 18 software technology parks which provide high data communication facility to software experts. Bangalore is known as the electronic capital of India. We have been looking at the role of industrial sector for the economic development of a country. We looked at how various industries help the economic development in our country. Here a major challenge is that industries are responsible for 4 types of pollution such as air, water, land and noise pollution. Air pollution. Air pollution refers to the contamination of air by harmful gases, dust and smoke which affects the plants, animals and human beings. There is a certain percentage of gases present in the atmosphere, and increase or decrease in the composition of these gases is harmful to life. This imbalance in the gases composition has resulted in an increase in Earth's temperature, which is known as global warming. Air pollution is caused by the presence of a high proportion of undesirable gases such as sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide. Smoke is emitted by chemical and paper factories, refineries, smelting plants and burning of fossil fuels that ignore pollution norms. Toxic gas leaks can be hazardous to our lives. You may be aware of the Bhopal gas tragedy in 1984 and the Visakhapatnam gas leak that occurred recently at the LG Polymers chemical plant. Air pollution adversely affects human health, animals, plants, buildings and the atmosphere. What are the measures to control air pollution? Smoke can be reduced by using oil or gas instead of coal in factories. Particulate matter or the particles made up of tiny pieces of solids and liquids in the air can be reduced by fitting fabric filters, electrostatic precipitators, etc. The equipments like electrostatic precipitators, scrubbers and inertial separators can be used to control the air pollution by factories. Water pollution. Water pollution occurs when harmful substances, often chemicals or microorganisms, contaminate the water bodies. Pollution of water degrades water quality and make it toxic to humans or the environment. Water pollution is caused by organic and inorganic industrial wastes and effluents discharged into rivers. Almost all the industries are responsible for water pollution. Thermal pollution of water occurs when hot water from factories and thermal plants is drained into rivers and ponds before cooling. Wastes from nuclear power plants and nuclear weapon production facilities pollute soil and water. Nuclear wastes or radioactive waste causes health problems like cancers, birth defects and miscarriages. Land and water pollutions are closely related. Dumping of industrial wastes, especially glass, harmful chemicals, industrial effluents, packing materials, salts and garbage into the soil renders the soil useless. Rainwater carries the pollutants to the ground and the groundwater also gets contaminated. How can the industrial pollution of water be reduced? Minimize the use of water for processing works in the industries. It can be done by reusing and recycling of water. Harvesting of rainwater can be done to meet water requirements of industries and other domestic purposes. Treat hot water and effluents in 3 ways before releasing them in rivers and to ponds. The primary treatment by chemical means such as screening, flocculation and sedimentation. Secondary treatment by biological process and a tertiary treatment by biological, chemical and physical processes. This involves recycling of wastewater. Overdrawing of groundwater by industries also need to be regulated. Now let us look at what is noise pollution. We are all used to sounds of everyday life, but when those sounds stop you from sleeping or give you a headache, that sounds turn into a noise pollution. You might have seen workers in factories and industry wear earplugs and all. Factories and industries that are close to residential areas cause discomfort and nuisance to the residents over there. Noise pollution is considered to be any unwanted or disturbing sound that affects the health and well-being of humans and animals. It results in irritation, anger, hearing impairment, increased blood pressure, etc. Industrial and construction activities, the generators, compressors, machines, furnaces, looms, exhaust fans, etc. used by industries create a lot of noise. Unwanted sound is an irritant and a source of stress. Machinery and equipments in factories can be fitted with silencers to prevent noise pollution. Noise absorbing material can be used apart from personal use of earplugs and earphones. We know that manufacturing sector is considered the backbone of economic development, but environmental pollution is a major challenge by this sector. The challenges of sustainable development requires integration of economic development with environmental concerns. Industries and factories should come up with necessary measures for preserving the natural environment and resources. Is it possible? The NTPC or the National Thermal Power Corporation shows us the best way. It has ISO certification for environment management system. Let us see the proactive approach adopted by the NTPC for preserving the natural environment and resources. It has adopted optimum utilization and upgradation of equipment by adopting latest techniques. NTPC follows minimizing waste generation by maximizing ash utilization, providing green belts for nurturing ecological balance, reducing environmental pollution through ash pond management, ash water recycling system, and liquid waste management, ecological monitoring, reviews, and online database management for all its power stations. What we can say is that industries and factories should come up with necessary measures for preserving the natural environment and resources for the sustainable economic development of our country. That's all about manufacturing sector. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos of full chapter explanation and past paper analysis. Thank you for watching.